Hello fellow gamers and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to build this functional speedboat for the game of Raft by Redbeet Interactive. I know we've been talking about it a lot, but it is finally here. This boat has a lot of character. It also has a lot of functionality, and it's quite possible to build this boat in any mode of the game. Um, I have to say it's probably far more complex of a design um, than uh, than my last boats, but we're going to try our best to show you guys step by step how to build this boat. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. So let's take a look at the features and the designs for this complex build, um, and I can show you what it's got going on here. So we have obviously animals towards the front. You've got a lot of space here to play with. The boat comes in at basically about 107 tiles. If you use, well, admittedly, there's not a lot of space for you to be able to use nets. Um, because we've used these angle roof tiles to give it this kind of boat feel, um, that means that the front part of this deck is inaccessible. So building in a specific order is going to make sense or is going to be necessary, especially as it relates to the waterer, and we'll get into that. We've got two separate cooking stations here with storage, plenty of storage to do whatever. We've got plenty of smelting with storage here as well. A little bedroom with more storage for you to do whatever you need there, maybe tools or weapons or whatnot. We do have a couple areas here for trees, not as many as some of my other boats. Some other boats had a little more space for that. A lot of garden space, able to kind of wrap the garden. You could probably go a little further over here, but I think that's just going to mess with the pathway to the stairs. But you've got some some gardens you can do there. Control room is best used with the door open for visibility. You can access all of the UI back here. You can, access any of the controls here um, without having to go around. I did that more for support for me to be able to design the roof the way that I have. Um, and you'll notice there's a lot of stairways, either going below deck or into the back of the boat, usually with a couple different pathways. So see, we've kind of tucked our anchor in here. We've got a lot of extra storage here, and then, do what you need here. On the walls, I've put up the trophies. This is where I kind of was, if I wasn't using the heads for biofuel, you've got space here that you can kind of put some trophies in. Some of these windows, did it to let some more light in so it wasn't so dark down here, because it can get that way if you kind of box it in. Uh, Aesthetically, I think it's a little more pleasing. And you got our biofuel here. Got our battery charger here, got our watering system here, which as you can see flows all the way up and back up to the front of the boat for the animals. We are sporting two engines, like I said, so we will get max speed with the 107 tiles that we have. You'll notice there's not an inkwell here. During gameplay, I actually had the inkwell here. Be sure to check out the description um, for being able to jump between the various different sections. I've even included some screenshots of the progress of me building this in normal gameplay, so you can kind of see the different phases that I went through to get to this ultimate design. Anyway, with features out of the way, let's show you how to build it. All right, for phase one, let's go ahead and get started with the base. Well, before we get started, let me mention here, you'll notice that there is basically a 5x5 space here, and then the front. I put that there to illustrate that during normal gameplay, I actually started with this front part of the boat and just crammed everything in there while I was trying to recover, or while I was trying to collect resources to build the rest of the base. In a normal gameplay, you are going to do the base first, obviously. And so, obviously, acquiring ore and getting the smelter or smelters going and getting this base outline done so that you can start building the rest of the boat unmolested by the shark. So let's get started. So basically from this corner, you're basically going all the way down here 23 tiles by 5. So 23 by 5 gets you at least to the first corner before the nose, the angle of the nose. Well, actually with the start here. And then, of course, you just have one extra piece and the centerpiece there. Now, from the back of the boat, if you actually count out from the corner 7 tiles, this is where you're going to have your extra tile on each side. We have a door here, and then, of course, the watering system is over here. Now, I think I mentioned to you before that this boat does not have a lot of opportunity for nets, mainly because the whole front of the boat is going to be covered by a low deck. So, and you could put net in there, but my guess is the only way you'd be recovering items from it is if you swam underneath the boat. But I'll give you the bare. This is the bare bones minimum that you can get in here. If you decide to make some design features like taking out doors or something like that, you may be able to get a few more in. So from the back 3 tiles, we go in 1 and we put our 3 nets. And then we go 1 tile here. This is the first door into the engine room. And you've got this net that actually sits inside the engine room. You go 2 tiles forward and you've got the next 2 tiles forward as nets. This single tile right here is where the charging station was. And then just before the door, we have another net there. Coming back to here, these 2 nets here go right up to here where we have a stairwell, a large staircase that goes up, and then there's a large staircase here that goes up. And so these nets are basically sitting underneath the back tile of those large stairs. Between the stairs, you go forward 1, and then you have this net, and then the caddy corner net, and this is actually where the anchor is going to be. So obviously we're going to come back in here, we're going to remove this center tile for the anchor, but for the ease of this video, I just kind of left it. So there you go. So that'll get you the base shape. Now, during gameplay, you are going to start building from the back of the boat, mainly because you're going to want the control room so that you can start using your navigation tools during gameplay. So for the ease of this video, I'll go ahead and just do the design as is, but just note that during gameplay, you'll probably build the back end. And that's why I put in the description kind of a handy table of content guide so you can jump in between the different phases as you're playing the game. So for the watering for the animals on the top deck, obviously before we go closing in this front part of the deck, we need to go ahead and get that water in. So we've got basically 1 horizontal pipe, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tiles. Take a corner, come all the way to the end, and go out to 3 tiles. And as if you do that as a minimum, as we go through to build the rest of the boat, you'll have access to it and you can connect everything. So one thing I want to mention here is that so for the frame, you are basically looking at 6 posts here on the outside. On both sides, you have 6 posts on the outside. And then as you go in 1 tile here, you actually have 7 tiles, and that mirrors itself on this side. So going in, you have 7. Sorry, these are half posts, 7 half posts, and then the 2 center lines have 4 additional posts, obviously for this. And that is going to be able to support the what we're going to end up calling our deck, the front deck. So getting those put in place early is going to be helpful for phase 2. So that's pretty simple. And let's go on to the next phase. All right, for phase 2, we're going to start putting up the walls on the first floor. In this particular case, we're talking about the angled walls. Now, there are 3 different tile sets that you could use for these angle walls. I chose to use the standard. You could obviously use the frond walls or the or the newer tile set. I would caution that it's all about resources, right? So taking a look at these resources, you're looking at 6 planks for the new tile design, 2 planks and 3 palm leaves for the thatch roof, and then of course just the basic 4, which is what I did in the original build. My original build is using this basic design. So basically you just you're going to put this in place and basically follow it all the way down until you get to the tiles that actually kind of jut out in the side. That's as far as any of the angled walls in this particular build are actually going to go. When you're up at the front of the boat, it obviously uses a few more tiles, just because you're going to have to angle these, right? You've got that one's normal, angled, and then what you do, you come back in and it may be something where you have to rotate it into place, but it is exactly the same tile set, and that'll get you around there. That gets us the basic shape, at least for the front part or the majority of the boat sides, and you can start to see how we're going to be enclosing this the front of the ship. Now, for the purposes of the back, basically the 5x3 tiles system is what we have here, and of course we have some gates for getting in and out of the boat. So you can go ahead and put these here if you'd like. I think in my design I ended up going with the new tile set, or the newer tile set, as it were, for the boats. So yeah, so that kind of gets you your basic frame here. Obviously, here on the sides, we're going to have the engine rooms. We're going to have some walls and doors here as well. But this pretty much, for phase 2, this pretty much gets you the waterline base build on the sides for first floor, and we're ready to go ahead and continue with the front. All right, for phase 3, we're going to go ahead and start with building the front part of this deck. And we are going to start by going right straight down the middle of the ship to the last set of half pulls. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. We have in the very center here, we have a small staircase, which I use the newer one, that is actually headed downward, right? So that's stair pointing towards the back of the ship. And then we're going to go ahead and use, now I did do this in my design, I did use the solid wood floors, which is wood-wise is a little more expensive than just your normal wooden floor. But I did so because, well, it looks nice. So what you can do here is I put the first 3 here. If you just want to, just to get this out of the way to help you get perspective, I kind of wrap these around here, and then we can go ahead, and these are all half stairs, right? And your deck has these half stairs to start here. We'll come back and do some of the trim work in a second, but let's go ahead and finish. Let's go ahead and finish putting out our. Let's see here. Get this in, and now you can see why it was important for us to obviously putting the watering station fairly early, right? So because as you can see, access is going to be an issue. Okay, and obviously that one's going to be open for the come up, but we can put these in, and then of course we'll grab the angles of the same flavor, put those in here, and go back to there. So that gets us to there. Then we can just come back in here, and I'll show you what's going on there in that corner. It looks like we're not being able to to put that in, but we will once we get, there's a little bit of trim we need to put there. And this, so just go as far as it's going to let you, which is there. And as you can see, we've got pre-railing. We've got our initial deck here. Now, as far as some of the trim I was talking about for here, if you go into kind of the half walls, we do have like this, oops, going down to the first floor, right? And let's come down here real quick. These are also kind of boxed in our design. So go ahead and put those there. And here in this place here, we're going to grab these kind of angled corner block, the new ones. And let's see here. Yeah, I've got the right one here. There we go. Maybe I don't have the right one. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So you're going to do one on that side. You'll come over here, do one on this side, which obviously will allow you to put in these tiles here. And then, these are, for the most part, they are open. You will see as we get further into the design, because we have some chests and some poles here. So it can be done a couple of ways. I assume if you want to put a chest in, I kind of came in here and do these, like so. That way you'll be able to put chests and whatnot in here as we go forward. All right, that gets this base design going. We're going to come back in here and you'll see that we have these side walls going here. There we go. There, so that kind of boxes in the front of the ship. Obviously it looks a little boxy, but once you start adding some railing and flare here. All right, let's go ahead and put up our railing so we can finish the front part of this boat pre-painting. Naturally, I was using the newer railing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go one here, and then let's go ahead and continue this around at least to here. And then right here we had entrances into the boat. If I can find entrances into the boat here. And we'll use the new ones. Put those on this side. All right, and then of course this is where we actually have the animals coming into the boat. So again, it's all going to depend on the size, right? So do it this way, do it this way. I guess this will make more sense as I go. Now, you could obviously expand this space a little bit further than what I have done. This is during normal gameplay, this was sufficient, right? I mean, it worked fine for me as far as the amount of animals that I had, so it's not like I was at any kind of a deficit. And of course, you're going to have your grass and your watering system in there. And you'll get a chance to kind of play with this as we put the watering stations in. They'll automatically attach to that. So that gets you your basics. Up here in the front, I had kind of put a kind of a flag thing. So I kind of had a, let's see if I can find it here real quick. I believe actually it was this one here. And just kind of put it there, and then of course we'll end up putting a flag on top of that, at the top of the ship. And of course you can probably come in here and get the railing on the front. There. And of course we had our beehive there. So that takes care of your front deck there. And then of course here with the railing, you just kind of continue it to the edge. Come over here, do the same. All right, for phase 4, we're going to start building the back of the boat, but I want to put one correction in here. When we go to put the automatic waters in here, the pipes will not flow through this upgraded railing. So you'll see I've boxed this in with just the normal rope railing, and that will allow the pipes to actually flow through there when we put them in. And of course, you can see that gives us plenty of room for our beehive and a small garden plot in the front. So with that out of the way, let us head back to the back and I'll show you what we're doing here. I've already preset the post for you, but I'm going to go through and show you how we did that. So starting from the back, 3 tiles, basically at the edge of where we put the railing in the previous phase. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then come over here. You're going to go 3 tiles, and then you're going to put another 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the inside, it's a little bit different. You'll notice I'm putting full posts and then half posts on top of them to get the height that we're going to need. So if you come into the engine room itself, and let's put an engine up to see, you'll see that I've put, we've come in one post from, or one tile from the edge, and we've put 2 posts there. And then on this side, we've put 2 posts there, and then we have this 1/3 post here. That's kind of mandatory for when we go to do the floor tiles for the floor above. And so once you have that in place, so again, that's 6 across here, 6 across the other side of the engine room with 2 on the inside, 1 here, and then again 2 on the inside here. Now once you get outside the engine room, there's basically 1, 2 posts here, 1, 2 posts here. This goes to a doorway, this goes to our water station going out there. Once you have these posts in place, we're ready to go ahead and start putting up these walls. I did use the upgraded walls in my design. Now, there's a couple things here. We're going to have an engine here, and before you get controls to really control the engines up in your navigation room, before then, you're going to have to do some manual work. And so what I've done is you're going to have a half wall here, and if we come back over to the other engine room here, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have a half wall there. And what we've done on these that's a little bit different is you go half wall, and then you're going to come here and you're going to go solid wall, and then you'll come back and you'll do, well, here, I'll do it on this side as well. Solid, oops, that was the wrong one. There we go. And then, of course, we'll come back and do our open window wise there and there. And then we can go ahead and start with our solid walls. And we're going to go solid walls here and here. Come back through the engine room to the other side. We'll do a solid wall there, solid wall there, solid wall there. And if you have any, you got a solid wall there and a solid wall there. And then we're going to continue with the window walls above. And you won't be able to put that one up until we, so if we come here, grab our door, we can go ahead and put in the door, come back, grab our window frame, put it up on top, come to the other side of the engine room, and we can do the same. We'll put one there. I don't think, let's leave those off for the time being. I can't remember if those are windowed or solid. Go ahead and put in our doorway here. Put our window across the top. That brings us into here. And of course, there's not any walls here because this is basically where you'll see our engine goes there and an engine there as well. So I'm just going to place these just for the time being. It's not going to hurt as we go through this design. All right. And of course here, you notice that we had those stairs. Go ahead and put these here. Oops. We're going to grab the large, right? And something's not right here. All right, let's try that again. It's actually, I grabbed the wrong. Because of what we have out here, we actually have to use these stairs for the back just because of the nature of why we have these here. And that's going to end up going to a pedestal, and we'll get to that point. And that gets you to here. And if you remember our little watering station, we have got, and there's another one there. I need to look to see if that's solid or window. I think it's windowed, so I'm going to go ahead and put it as window for the time being. We can always edit that if we need to, but now you can see we've got access to the engine's controls on both sides, right? And even with either a painting station or a chest here, you will still be able to get access to that engine control. All right, so that gets the basics for the first floor for the back, and we're ready to move on to doing the roof and the platform up on top. All right, for phase 5, we've got just a few little walls here that we need to put in. Let's see here. We've got this one, so if you're coming from the back of the engine room, from the back, the one on the right gets a wall there, the one on the left gets a wall there. And that'll make sense as we go. There are solid half walls that go across here, and you'll see as we go through this, it'll make more sense. They're going to start to connect. There we go. And then we can go ahead and start with our floor platforms. These to me were more aesthetically pleasing. So you're going to have to put this one up over the railing first. You'll have to do the, let's see here, it's being a little difficult, but you can see we can get it there, and there. So it does fit. It is a little bit of a snug fit, but it will fit once you get in there. You can see we're going across there. So we've kind of got the basics for going up towards the top. You can see in here. Now we can come back through and do the solid half walls here and here. And one thing I should probably add, I took a decorative half post and I do it here on these sides. And again, that's going to be necessary for later in the build. Go ahead and put your solids across. And none of this interferes with the engine at all, so it's a good way to start. Now we can start. We can go back to our stairs, our short stairs, and you're going to want to go in. So from this edge, you're going to want to go in one tile and go up, and you're going to want to do the same thing on this side, right? And then we go with our rope and get ourselves. And I think we're going to actually close that in a little bit different, but I'm going to go ahead and put these here for now. So let's go ahead and take that off. Let's take that one off to start. That gets us into this boxed area, and we can actually start putting some of the ceiling tiles here. Again, I used the upgraded solid wooden floors. We'll go ahead and put those across here. And just complete on the inside. This is obviously going to give us the platform for the control room on this second floor. And you're going to be able to just come in here where those posts are. You see, even with just those two, that gets us started, and we now have access to where we're going to start building the control room. In these areas here, what I did was I kind of came in here to these half walls and put these off a little more aesthetically pleasing, and then grab a solid wall here, box that in, and do the same over here, box that in, and that's you get light from the back and the front, so it's not so bad when you come through here. Plus, we're going to be adding lighting as we go, and as you can see, it's really starting to take shape. We can go ahead and place our door for our exit here. And what we do in these little areas here is the same thing. We just grab our corner wall pieces and box those in. There we go. And that gives us a nice little transition. And I'm going to go ahead on this one. I'm going to go ahead and put a solid wall there. We've got the open window wall on that side. This one right here doesn't really matter. It's underneath the stairs. Aesthetically, so you're not just looking at a dead space. I'm going to change my mind. Dealer's choice. And we're just going to close that in so you can't really see it. Probably going to do the same thing over here. Just because I want that boxed in so it's not visible. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of dead space. If any of you have some ideas to put in those little spaces, something, by all means, I'm all ears. Put it in the comments and we'll see. But that gets the transition to the second floor, and we're ready to go ahead and start phase 6 and start building our control room. All right, for phase 6, let's go ahead and start building our control room. We're going to come up from the back of the boat. Facing the back of the boat, we're going to give our windowed palm leaf with rib facing inward. We're just going to go straight across the top. We're going to do 2 on the inside here, 2 on the inside there. Right. Takes us for the back part of the control room. And then we're going to come in here and switch this to that. And here, we want to do 1 angle, solid. Do the same over here. Obviously, ribs facing inward, solid. Come here, solid, solid. Right. And then we go ahead and grab the palm leaf, and we're going to do the rib in on those. Right. That gives us the basic shape there. Now, for what I did in here to help with the roof is I went in with the solid, just regular wooden frames, and that is what I put for my ceiling on here. Even though we're going to be putting a roof on this anyway, got to put that there. And then these 1 corners here, you grab your little triangular, put a wood base there, over here, and do the same. That leaves those kind of open. And at this point, the item is ready for us to go ahead and start putting on the roof. And for the roof tiles, obviously I went, so we have just the domes there. For these corners right here, we're just going to go in here and grab the wooden roof corners and go over to the thatch part. And we kind of want those angled properly, so you're probably going to have to rotate them. There you go. And then, of course, the normal roof is just standard. So what we're going to do is I think it's easier, just do the corners first on both sides. And then go ahead and grab your standard thatch and beam those in. And then put those in. And here, your control room is pretty much done. You'll be able to put all the, once we get through the design phase, or once we get through how to build this, we'll go in and see it decorated again. You know, we have garden boxes out here on the outside, these little small ones up against the window. In the back here, hanging off the back of these, we put bird's nests for collecting feathers, which kind of comes in handy. It's kind of out of the way. It does kind of, and you know, it kind of hangs down a little bit, so it doesn't really mess with your visibility. And then here we also have a doorway. You don't have to put the doorway, I mean, because, you know, I find it easier to, actually, we need to have that different. It should actually, we want that door to open outward, not inward. That's better. And again, that helps with visibility once we get the control room in place. So there you go. That's an easy phase. You've pretty much got your second floor, and you can go ahead and put in your navigation system. I basically put an antenna in this corner, an antenna in this corner, and then the larger antenna goes out a little bit. We're going to go ahead and continue here in the next phase, building this other part, and then you'll see where we put the other one. This floor needs to come out, but we need to do pretty much the center part of this boat before we can go extend that anymore. So there you go. There's your control room now in place. We're ready to move on. All right, for phase 7, we need to extend the center part of this boat so that we can get going. Now, I've already started putting the post here to show you, but it's not very hard. Coming out of the engine room, we kind of stopped at this row here. So basically, you're just going to, from the edge of the door, you're going to come over one. You're going to put one post, 2 squares, one post, one tile, one post, 2 tiles, one post. And then you'll come over and you'll go over 2 tiles and you go 1 post, 1 tile, 1 post, 1 net, 1 post, 1 tile, 1 post, 1 net, 1 tile, and then 1 post. Now these posts in the back, you're going to go ahead and put the half posts on top of them to get them to the right level of the floor. And here, even though these are lower, it'll make sense to you. Let's go ahead and we'll put in our transition to the second floor with these stairs, and this will help us. As you can see, it'll make sense here in a second. Go ahead and this is kind of a little more complex, but let's just go ahead and put in these floor tiles now because we're going to need it for the transition, right? This allows us to come in and grab these half walls, put them here, 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 and here. And again, this will make sense. I'm going to go, I guess I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and we have a half stair transition here that goes up to that deck. So I'm doing that now because once you get that in place, you can go ahead and continue your floor out all the way. There you go. And let's take the rest of our rope railing and we're going to come through here, here, and then we've got a little transition here that's a little bit weird. So you really put them there because we're going to have something different there, and then you just come over here and we'll do this side. So it should come out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles long, right? So that part of the deck should be 5 tiles long. And once you get your treat posts in here, it will make far more sense, which means that there. And when we go to do this kind of interim part of the deck here, we'll fill the rest of that in. But as you can see, that gets the basics here. Now, for the inside walls here, you can kind of mix and match this. Because I had trophies in some of these areas, I was doing something like this and having maybe a window frame. Actually, I think I did it. So I had a window frame here, and then I would have more solid tiles, I think, on this side, and then this side we'd come over, and we would do. I think we had less over here, so we'll go window, 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 and do solid for, like I said, for window frames as well. Solid there. So there you go. It kind of starts to make sense now, so that now from under here you're coming out of the engine room and you have your transition to the next floor. And of course, now we've pretty much finished the top part up here. All right, for phase 8, we need to get the lower middle deck here. So what I've done is, if you come over here to where we ended these posts and the stairs, From this post, you go over 2, you set up a post, you come over 2 squares, you set up a post, come over 2 squares, set up a post, and this is open. I did add some more decorative half things here, kind of across the corners. And if you're OCD, you can put ones down here if you want. Either swap those out, or that gives you an idea. Now we should be able to go ahead and complete the floor up above. I do want to take care of the transition from these stairs here. So if we go to these half full walls, right, and then come over on this side, it's the same thing. That's the way we had it, and then we have one in there, and one on there as well. And these are just transitions down to the floor. From this point, we should be able to go ahead and start putting in the these floor tiles for the lower deck. And you can see these should basically come in here. And it looks like we're going to have to put the sides up first before we continue. But you can see that this gets us to this level and continues on. So, you know, whatever your choice is for how many of these, you know, you want to be windows and how many of these you want to put trophies on, that's all up to you. I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix and match here a little bit. And just so we can go ahead and continue with the build of the platform for the lower deck rather. And this is going to make us come close to the close here. Just kind of clean things up here a little bit. Do that there. That there. Yeah, I like that much better. Actually, can't tell if I like the side ones like that or if I want to. Yeah, I think they're good like that. I mean, you go either way. You could actually do these in full squares, or you could do the triangles on the sides. I guess it depends on your preference. I'll go ahead and leave those straight. But as you can see, we now have the inclusion of this deck. And then, you know, we have covered areas here. So, oops, wrong ones. So these are half posts. And over to the full posts, I believe it's 1, 2 squares there, 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 and there. That gets us that platform, and then of course we come over here and we rinse and repeat. Do the same thing. One there, one there. Grab the long ones. One there, one there, and one there. Yeah, so that works. And from here, we can go ahead and put in, continue our railing. I believe I went rope on this level. Rope here as well. Rope here as well. You can start grabbing your ceiling tiles. I typically use these wooden floor ones to kind of get them so the ceilings are kind of consistent, right? And then come back with our tiles and we'll and I believe did something a little unusual here. So basically going to put these in like so, and then these face outward so that you get kind of a basic look like that. And then we can come up here and fill those in. Should give us, yeah, it gives us that. Come over here, do the same thing. It's all consistent. When you go to start painting, it'll look the same to you. I chose black and white, but of course, you know, I always leave the design phase really up to you guys. It's kind of personal preference. Look at that. Now we have the smelting in the bedroom area completed. We have this area down here. So really at this point, the only thing that's really left to do is to go ahead and put down all of our resources, paint it the color you like, maybe put in a few garden boxes here. But there you have it. That is how you build the speedboat in a nutshell. If you guys have another design you would like to see, be sure to put something in the comment, or send me an email message or whatever, and I will try to see what I can come up with. But until next time, everybody, enjoy the game, and I'm sure we'll see you again.